Hey everyone, and welcome to today's video. So today, as the title suggests, I'm taking a look at some of my favourite gear that's come out over the past 12 months. And just before we start, a quick disclaimer, this isn't a sponsored video. I do endorse some of the companies that make the products I'm going to talk about, but none of the companies, those I endorse or otherwise, know that I'm actually making this video. No one's paid me to say anything. The purpose of this video is just intended to be a very honest account of pieces of gear that I've used. So everything I talk about I have either bought for myself or I've used it in a demo, so I've had extended kind of playing time with it and gotten to know it. It's just meant to be a very honest account of what I've either found really useful, really exciting, or really enjoyed using throughout the course of this year. So the first thing I want to talk about today are these, which are the Ernie Ball, I'll hold them up to the camera, Ernie Ball flat ribbon patch cables. So these are 3 inches, and part of what I like about these is they are shorter than the standard kind of 6-inch patch cables we see a lot of the time with pre-made patch cables. So where having a shorter patch cable can be advantageous, if you've got a flat board like this as opposed to a tiered board, and you've got 2 top loading pedals, if I was using a 6-inch cable to connect these two, the cable would protrude lower than the bottom of the board, and that's going to, first off, it's going to make your pedal board rock because you won't have an even footing on the floor, but also it's going to damage the cable and put pressure on the input and output jack of the pedals it's connected to. But having the 3 inch, it's meant that it's not touching the floor. I can tie wrap it into the board, keep everything nice and neat. They're very low profile, they've got low profile heads, so I mean I could get these 3 pedals in really close, so I'll definitely be using them on future boards that I'm putting together. So number 4 is my favourite pedal that I got a chance to try out that was new for 2020, and that's the MXR M205 Tremolo pedal. So what I really liked about this pedal was you've got a lot of adjustable parameters on there, but also you've got the option with the extra output, you can either run to a stereo output, and you can connect an expression pedal, or we can connect a tap tempo. The latter of which being how I would use it. So whenever I'm looking for tremolo pedals, I'll always look for, does it have a tap tempo, as it's a feature that I would be really keen to have on any tremolo pedal. But what we can find with tremolo pedals that have inbuilt tap tempos, first off, they're a lot bigger because there's got to be an extra switch on there and you don't want to hit your bypass when you're hitting the tap. But also you've got to be kind of conscious of where they go on a board layout, because you don't want to go and tap in the tempo of your tremolo pedal mid-gig and accidentally kick your tuner and mute your signal. So where having an external tap tempo is really valuable is that if you're not using a switcher, it means you can have your tremolo anywhere you like on the board, but you can then position your tap tempo wherever is most advantageous and wherever is easiest to reach, so there's no danger of hitting other pedals as you go to adjust the tempo. So number 3, this is another piece of gear that I demoed this year. This is the Hagstrom Viking II, the 67 reissue. And what I really liked about this guitar was that it was very unique in its spec set. And you had a bolt-on neck on a hollow body guitar. It was a very short scale length, even shorter than Gibson. I'll put the exact figure on screen when I've checked it on the website. Hollow body design and very kind of uniquely voiced pickups. So this can be a very useful tool in the studio, particularly as guitars that tend to have unique specs also tend to have very unique sounds, which is always an advantage in a studio. But it can also send you on a completely different kind of creative path if you pick up a guitar that makes you play in a way that you're not always used to, or that you don't always find yourself going to as like a default kind of playing style. And I certainly found that to be the case with this guitar. So number 2, I've got the Torpedo Cat Tracks. So this is the 16-ohm version. And this is by far the biggest thing, or the thing that's made the biggest difference in how I record at home and how I have things set up at home now. So prior to this, I was using a lot of plugins for my recordings, and which I think plugins can sound great. I think they can sound really convincing as to what they're emulating a lot of the time. But what I wanted to do was use the amps that I'd normally use live and be able to record at home with them. And this was the perfect solution for that. So basically what we've got is a reactive low box, a virtual cabinet, an attenuator and an IR loader. So the way that I'm using this, I'll connect either the Victory or the Black Star. I'll bypass the cab and connect it up to this. I am looking to get another one that matches the ohmage of the Mesa. And then what it's doing there essentially is it's a reactive load box, so it's taking the load of the amp head, meaning that I can run it without melting it, not being connected to a cab. So the advantage of this is that you can crank your tube amp, get whatever tone you want, but essentially run it at whatever volume is appropriate for that time of day. So I'll just run this DI from here. Like I say, no cabs in the room, it just comes out of the 2 speakers I've got behind me, and I'll just set the volume for whatever is appropriate at the hour I'm recording at. To me, the biggest thing with this is it captures not only the tone of the amp but also the feel, as that can, I think, be the harder of the two to recreate in anything that is kind of emulating plugging straight into an amp. For me, it really captures that kind of feel. So number one, this is a guitar that any of my Instagram followers will be very familiar with, and this is the Schecter PT. So I'm not endorsed by Schecter or anything. I picked this up because I wanted a guitar. Well, I was on a bit of a telequest and I wanted a guitar that had Filtertrons in. And the thing that really kind of struck me about this guitar was that the build quality is so high, it feels very comfortable to play. And it kind of feels like a modern take on a Telecaster, but still with the kind of vintage sonic appointments, I guess, which was pretty much exactly what I was looking for at the time of ordering this. What it's really done is open my eyes to how versatile Filtertrons are. As prior to this, I'd only really played Gretsch's or similar style guitars that had those pickups. And I always find when I pick up one of them, it sends me on a kind of more country orientated kind of rockabilly style. Whereas because I felt so at home on this guitar, I was kind of playing the things I would normally play, but experiencing it through the Filtertrons. And like I say, it just really opened my eyes as to how well they were kind of taking just about any style that was being thrown at them. So it just feels like a really kind of solid, well-built guitar. It's even got a bit of flaming on the neck, which I don't know if it'll show up on the camera or not. If it's not doing, I'll bring up a picture on screen so we can see that. I don't know if it's meant to come with flame on the neck, or if I just got lucky with this individual piece of wood. So since picking this guitar up, this has definitely become one of my main guitars over the past few months. Anyone who's familiar with my music videos, this is also the Odyssey guitar that I used to record and film a music video with. So there is actually one more piece of gear that I want to talk about before bringing the video to an end, and the reason I've not included it in the top 5 is that I wanted that to remain as unbiased as possible, and I have actually had a hand in the design process of this guitar. And this is the instrument that I've had the most questions on this year. This is the guitar that I used in the music video for The Light, if anyone's seen that. And this is the Ambler Capulet. And this specific one is the Ambler Capulet JF model. So Ambler are a boutique builder from the UK, and they build very kind of high-end handcrafted instruments. And we'd initially spoken, I think it was about 2 years ago, if I was interested in playing one of their models. So having played their guitars before and kind of being aware of how high quality they were, it was an offer that I took them up on pretty much straight away. And there was a Juliet model of theirs, which is a similar kind of design to this. I'll bring up a picture. And I was very taken with that guitar at the time, but I'd asked if we could just adjust a few of the lines on it, so namely bringing this top horn in a little bit, which kind of led to this design, which was the Capulet shape. So this guitar will actually be available as a very limited kind of artist designed or signature run some point next year. So when that comes out, I'll have some more information in a video and I'll post on Instagram, that kind of thing. So I've put a link to the Capulet webpage on the Ambler website in the description box if anyone wanted to see the specifications on there, read a little bit more about it. So in terms of feel on this guitar, this is pretty much home in terms of specs for me, as I got to choose all the specifications on here. So I'll be seeing a lot more of this on future Instagram and YouTube videos. So that was my top 5 kind of +1 of gear that's come out over the past 12 months. There are some other things I want to try and some things that I think look really cool, but I wanted to keep this list to things that I've played personally. I definitely want to check out the 70th anniversary of the Esquire reissue that Fender have done. I really like the vibe of Esquires with the single pickup, and as we've kind of established at this point, I'm a big fan of Tellys. I also want to check out the V4 series preamp pedal that Victory have done for the Copper. I really like the kind of voxy amp tones that their Copper is designed around. As always guys, if anyone's got any questions, let me know in the comment section. If you did enjoy the video, please do like and subscribe. So this is going to be my last video of 2020, so I just want to say a huge thank you for all the support I've seen on my channel so far. This has been my first kind of year, or first probably 6 months actually, of YouTube, of doing YouTube properly, so it does mean so much, all the support that I've seen so far. So just thank you so much for that. As always, take care, have a happy and healthy Christmas and New Year. Stay safe and look after each other, and I'll see you in 2021.